What if a place could erase people? No screams, no witnesses, no bodies, just gone. In the southwestern corner of Vermont, there is a stretch of wilderness locals whisper about even today. A place where experienced hunters vanished, where a college student disappeared while surrounded by people, where a child was never found despite one of the largest searches in New England history. Between 1945 to 1950, 5 people disappeared under disturbingly similar circumstances. Different ages, different backgrounds, different days. Seimrijan. This area became known as the Bennington Triangle, a name inspired by the Bermuda Triangle, but rooted not in the ocean, but in deep forests, fog-covered mountains, and silence. Tonight, we're not chasing myths, we're examining real people, real disappearances, and real unanswered questions. No exaggeration, no sensational lies, just a mystery. If you got here, please subscribe the channel. The Bennington Triangle is not an officially marked location. It's an informal name given to an area of southwestern Vermont, primarily surrounding Glastonbury Mountain and the towns of Bennington, Woodford, and Shaftesbury. Once bustling, in the 1800s, Glastonbury was eventually abandoned due to harsh conditions, poor soil, and isolation. By the early 20th century, it was a ghost town. Locals reported strange occurrences long before the disappearances. Sudden storms, unexplained sounds, compasses malfunctioning, thick fog appearing without warning. Native American legends claimed the mountain was cursed or forbidden, though historians debate how literal these stories were meant to be. But legends alone don't create a mystery, disappearing people do. Case number 1, Mitty Rivers, 1945, the hunter who vanished. In November 1945, 74-year-old Mitty Rivers joined a group of hunters near Glastonbury Mountain. Mitty wasn't a beginner. He knew these woods better than most men half his age. At one point, Rivers walked slightly ahead of the group. That was the last time anyone saw him. When the others reached camp, Mitty never arrived. Search parties were deployed immediately, and hundreds of volunteers, military aircraft, trekking dogs. The dogs picked up Rivers' scent, and then it stopped abruptly, and no signs of struggle, no clothing, no remains. An experienced outdoorsman vanished in daylight. Case number 2, Paula Jean Weldon, 1946, the college student who walked into history. On December 1, 1946, 18-year-old Paula Jean Weldon, a sophomore at Bennington College, went for a walk. Wore a bright red coat. Multiple people saw her hiking the long trail, a popular path. One couple watched her walk ahead of them. Then she rounded a bend and vanished. No screams, no evidence. No body. The case attracted national attention. The FBI assisted. Psychics were consulted. And even Paula's father died searching for her. She was never found. Paula's disappearance directly inspired the term Bennington Triangle. Case number 3, James Tedford, 1949, the man who vanished from a bus. In December 1949, 68-year-old James Tedford, a veteran, boarded a bus returning to Bennington from St. Albans. Passengers spoke to him. The driver remembered him. When the bus arrived, James Tedford was gone. His luggage was still in the overhead rack. No stops, no witnesses, no explanation. He vanished without leaving his seat. In case number 4, Paul Jepson, 1950, the child who disappeared while playing. On October 12, 1950, 8-year-old Paul Jepson played near his family's farm. His mother checked on him repeatedly. Then he was gone. Bloodhounds traced his scent to a nearby road. Then it vanished. Despite massive searches, Paul was never found. Case number 5, Frida Langer, 1950, the woman who almost escaped. In October 1950, 53-year-old Frida Langer went hiking with her cousin. She slipped into a stream. She told her cousin she'd return to camp to change. She never arrived, because searchers looked everywhere. Months later, her body was found, but in an area already searched. And cause of death? Unclear. These were not careless people. They were students, veterans, children, experts, and they vanished without answers. The Bennington Triangle reminds us, nature doesn't need monsters to be terrifying. Sometimes it only needs silence. By the time Frida Lange's body was discovered, fear had already settled deep into the region. And because this wasn't one disappearance, it wasn't even two, it was 5 people over 5 years within the same geographical pocket. Different circumstances, same silence. And now, for the first time, investigators were forced to confront a terrifying possibility. What if this wasn't coincidence? Let's step back and look at the timeline. 1945, Midi Rivers vanishes while hunting. 1946, Paula Jean Weldon disappears on a public trail. 1949, James Tedford vanishes from a moving bus. 1950 October, Paul Jepson disappears near home. 1950 October, Frida Lange vanishes while hiking. 5 disappearances, all within roughly 35 miles, all near Glastonbury Mountain or surrounding wilderness. Statistically, disappearances happen everywhere, but clusters like this, they demand attention. Investigators noted victims often vanished mid-movement, no clear signs of violence, no reliable witnesses at the moment of disappearance. Searches repeatedly fail even with dogs and aircraft. Something wasn't adding up. And 5 people disappeared, no bodies, no answers. One overlooked factor in these cases is human psychology. When people realize they're lost, the brain can betray them. Common responses include leaving established trails, moving downhill toward sounds of civilization, discarding clothing due to paradoxical undressing. In hypothermia cases, making illogical decisions under stress. This may explain why bodies are rarely found, why searches fail, why some victims appear to vanish, but psychology alone does not explain James Tedford. You cannot psychologically disappear from a bus. This story isn't about monsters, it's about human vulnerability, nature's indifference, the limits of search and science. 5 people walked into history and never walked out. The Bennington Triangle doesn't need an explanation to be terrifying. And because the scariest mystery of all is not knowing, some have suggested a human predator. But problems arise. Victims varied in age, gender, and background. No bodies except Frida found months later. No witnesses. No forensic evidence. Serial criminals tend to escalate, leave patterns, leave victims. This theory remains possible, but unsupported. Frida Lange's case is unique. She didn't vanish instantly. She was experienced with a companion headed towards safety. Her body was found in an area already searched. Possible explanations: seasonal changes revealed remains, searchers missed the location, scavenger activity relocated remains, or something delayed her discovery. Her case shattered confidence in search operations. Today, all 5 cases remain unsolved. No confirmed remains for 4 victims. No official connection acknowledged by authorities. Modern technology, drones, thermal imaging, GPS might help today, but the past remains silent. The Bennington Triangle doesn't give explanations. It only leaves questions. Whether it was nature, chance, or something we still don't understand, the truth remains lost in the woods. And maybe that's the most unsettling part. Some mysteries don't end, they simply wait. If you like my breakdown, please subscribe for more interesting content. Thanks.